Hello everybody, make a video today about language and the use of words in our language that are now becoming um, twisted around and not being what they originally were. So, for instance, I was in a chat room that deals with debunking the shape of things, the terra firma, um, and they debunk people who think that the whatever shape it is. The people in this room are people who believe in the round theory. I'm not saying it's a theory. I'm just saying that as it all is a theory, since unless you're the one who goes and can actually physically see it with your eyes and whatnot, it's a theory. I mean, even though mathematically it can be proven by math, the math that has been given and all that stuff that the shape, and it proves that it's a round shape. Mathematically, I see these people that are on the other side of the, they think it's that, and or they think it's this way or whatever, and they try to go to debate with those people that have the math on their side, and it's kind of sad to watch that the arguments they bring are they don't have one. So, and then when I got into all the different theories of things out there, events in the past that have happened, and my opinion of them and other people's opinions of them, and the narrative of them, and there are people out there that in the truth community that have opinions about past events, and then many of them are valid points and valid beliefs, other than what the narrative has been given. And so I'll listen to these opinions, and there was a time when I was pretty much I believed what the narrative was being told to me, and I believed it, because why wouldn't I? Until something happened and I saw the narrative and the reality were not the same thing, and the narrative was telling me that's what it is, and my eyes were saying that's not what it is. So I realized that maybe not all the narrative is correct, or maybe the narrative is wanting me to believe something, and the narrative is telling me don't believe your own eyes, and that's the conflict for me, absolutely. So knowing that that something is true and something is not a subjective. It's not a subjective thing. Something is either true or it's false. There's no gray areas on that. Although certain people want there to be gray areas, and they want you to believe there are gray areas, and it's the same thing as that they're telling me something that my eyes are telling me is different objectively. So, and there's a lot of people out there that like that in this current environment of our society that want to tell you something is one way when your eyes objectively see that it isn't that way. And it's come to a certain point where these people that want to tell you something is one way, and you can obviously see that it's not, they want it so that when they tell you that it is, if you don't agree with them, then you have committed a crime. It's very Orwellian, and when the whole point of that Orwellian was that they told Winston, how many fingers am I holding up? And he kept saying it was 2 or 4 or whatever, and 2 and 2 is 4. And he was correct. However, the state, the government, was wanting him to say that it's whatever you say it is. And ultimately, of course, Winston, through severe torture and breaking down his whole everything, he basically said that it's whatever you say it is. Whatever you say it is. Because there is no subjective truth in that kind of a society. It's the truth of whatever they say it is for the day. And they could say tomorrow that 3 plus 1 is 5 and 7. Whatever. It doesn't matter. As long as you believe what they say, and that's the end of the story, and you're not going to question it or argue it because it's whatever they say. And we have a whole, we've just seen it in the last couple of years, where people were being told that certain things were a certain way, and certain things were happening, and they needed to listen to the people that knew, and, well, we know how that is, and it turned out, and, you know, many people, a lot of us, well, not a lot of, people didn't all go along with that, of course, you know, I was one of them. I knew before day one on that whole last thing that it was BS. I could just, because I was already into the end of the truth community enough to know at that point that basically anything that the narrative is telling you is probably not completely true, if even a little bit. So I, from the start, first time I heard about what they were talking about, I said, "No, you know, this is nothing." And by the time they had gone to the point where you're being locked in your house, I mean, talk about, it's like you know, it's killing a fly with a bazooka could be an analogy, I think. And that was where we were at. And when I saw the over exertion of effort on this whole thing, it was obvious completely that it was just control and power, the same old things. So getting back to the word thing, I was in the room about that does the debunking the shape thing, and to me, it's like you have to be completely nuts to go onto that channel and argue that you think it's just like this, because mathematically they're going to cream you, and you have nothing. You have nothing other than some you have nothing. Okay, there's that. I don't think that I know what the shape is. I mean, it could be something different. Now, we've all been taught that it's this shape from the start. You know, we've all been indoctrinated with that in our head. And mathematically, from what's been presented, mathematically, it will come out to that shape. That's the, and all the celestial bodies and all the other sorts of things, and all conform to that math. And so it maybe it is that shape. I don't know why that's a problem to accept, and why people that think it's that shape want to go against the other thing. I mean, I understand going against the narrative in the mainstream, and, you know, they're always lying and all that kind of stuff. However, I mean, it's like you're evidentiary, you know, and I think that this is the part where they use they say, because their vision doesn't match up with what the math is, that's a reason to doubt it. And, you know, I just got done saying that, you know, there's truth and there's false, and you got to physically see your eyes. Well, some things you can't physically see with your eyes unless you go, like, have the ability to you know, Elon Musk it, and and none of us have really that kind of money and equipment to do this. And hey, I think everybody should be able to take a ride up in one of those and see for themselves. And I certainly would like to do that. But mathematically speaking, it says it is that. It is that. And I don't think it should be one of that argument shouldn't be a breaking point for everything else. And so it's my contention that truthers out there that have entrenched themselves in this shape thing, and then they have other things that we're saying that this and this happened, or so and so said this, or whatever it might be, other theories um, about the narrative. Well, you kind of you put the tinfoil hat on, and the group out there that believes the narrative on everything. Well, they go, yeah, you're saying this is not good and that's bad and that's not a real thing and this and that, but you believe in this other thing. So you're lumping yourself in by saying you're a FE person. Then you're lumping yourself in with something that's the mathematical people are not going to agree with you because the math says that it is this other thing. And so you put all your then all of your arguments are in question at that point. I mean, we have no proof of these other things, so it falls into the same category. I mean, we may know that this and this happened, and that thing was said, or this thing was done, and empirical evidence kind of says yes, that's all true, but the narrative says no, and since you have no evidence for your other thing, then you're automatically lumped in with a conspiracy theorist. And so I think that it would behoove the truther people to drop the whole shape thing. Because it does not help your argument on anything else at all. It makes you look stupid and ignorant, and that's the way the math people see it. That you are stupid and ignorant. Therefore, if you're stupid and ignorant in one area, then you're stupid and ignorant. Period. So you lose credibility. So you could know everything about the JFK thing, for instance, and you could literally know that it's not what they say it is. But the fact that you believe in the shape thing and you're trying to espouse that, your credibility is completely shot at that point. You have no credibility because the math proves that is not working, and so why would you hook your wagon to that? And there's some people out there in that the shape community that they outright lie because they want to get clicks or whatever it is. And also I know part of it is that they don't want other people to think that they're a sheep and believe in the shape of the other thing, that shape. And in some truth communities they're very they're very mean about it if they have words to say what about that. But on both sides there's a negative name calling on each side with to those kind of people. One calls them this and that, other one calls that. I have a lot of theories about things that got on in our world, and first thing I just recently, well, not just recently, but I realized that shape thing, you lose your credibility with that thing, and nothing. They don't hear anything else you say after that. You become a fool. So now I've said all that. Go back to the thing. I was in this chat room with those people, and these are a bunch of very smart people in there. They have their jokes are all way esoteric and mathematical, and they burn these people that come on there pretty good, and the people that come on there that are talking about the shape thing, they don't even know they're being burned because they don't have the intellect of those people that they're talking to, and so, like for instance, the one guy says they're talking about space, and he says he likes to trip up the FE people by saying, "Oh, so you mean they can't go through the Van Halen belt?" And that's like a litmus test for him to see how if you listen in one for one and how smart you are for two. So if he says to you, "Oh yeah, what about getting through the Van Halen belt?" and then they continue on without catching that, because the Van Allen belt, then the room is just a mist with laughter because you've just given away that you're an idiot completely. That you didn't hear the Van Halen belt. Van Halen doesn't have a belt up in space, obviously. It's the Van Allen radiation belt. Anyway, so these people in that room are intellectuals for the most part, and pretty like engineering and that kind of stuff. Intellectuals. They're very mathematically inclined people, and I don't even try to argue with those people about anything. I mean, I listen to what they're saying, and because I don't know what exactly the theory of relativity is. I don't know exactly what E equals mc squared means, and I'm not going to pretend like I do. I understand that those are mathematical equations that are, you know, I was never an algebra calculus person and like that, and so I'd be stupid to try to argue with that. Um, these intellectuals, though, seem to be. We know that college campuses these days have um, a lot of of other things going on besides um, academics. There's a whole culture of social stuff going on, social engineering and whatnot. So I mentioned they were talking about the signs of a narcissist, um, and the channel creator was talking about he had gone through a lot of these different articles from different, you know, the DSM and just a lot of medical journals and all this stuff, and they were kind of collating all these ways to detect a narcissist, or you know, tell a narcissist, and all the common things that you would see, you know. And I think they were trying to go for you know, saying Donald Trump's a narcissist. Okay, that's fine and dandy. I mean, that's like old news. But so they were pulling together all these different articles and whatnot, and how you could spot one. And so I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, well, you know, some of the, you know, you're arrogant, you brag, you talk, you know, talk down to others, you think you're smarter than, and just everything that we know what a narcissist is, he's going through. And I typed in a comment. This kind of reminds me of the pronoun people. That was my comment. And man, I got attacked. Just out of boom, you know, I highlighted that, you know, and then one was just like, stop. And another one's like, we use pronouns to identify, to have, we're able to talk with people. It has fucking like a paragraph of goddamn, explaining to me why pronouns were a necessary thing. And then, you know, and his final thing was, is your recycling reality, is that your birth name? And I put it in the chat. I said, I'm only saying that the people that have these pronouns that want to force you to use them, because that's what it's saying, and that's what you guys were just talking about. There's narcissism, is that they are saying things and they expect you to. A narcissist wants to say it, and they want you to believe it or comply with it, and that's all I was saying. I was commenting on. These pronoun people want you to call them by a certain name, and that you must comply. And we were just, well, is that what we're talking about here, right? And when I put that in there, all of a sudden I get hammered, man, by these people defending pronouns. These are intellectuals in colleges, so you can see the level of this stuff with the pronouns is so indoctrinated now that probably in colleges, and I could, and a lot of, like I said, a lot of people in college, they might not even necessarily believe it, but they're just that quick jumping onto, you must comply with the pronouns. And I wasn't even saying that I disagree with their pronouns. I was saying that this is an example of narcissism, and just even pointing it out that was an example of it got me hammered. And when I made a response to it, I got blocked. I put in time out. I was probably one of the older people in the room, and I was simply making an observation about narcissists, and this seemed to be fit in with the whole thing. But no. It only applies to Donald Trump. All these other things. It only applies to this. It only applies to that if you're narcissistic. It doesn't apply to our pronoun bullshit. Okay. So I put in there after I was allowed back in. So we're all scientific about everything here, except for when it comes to biology. Then we're, you know, and that's obviously the case in our society right now, because we have people out there that are born one way, and because they feel like that's not the way they are, they superficially change something, and then therefore they're the other thing. And if you don't agree with what they're the other thing, then you're some kind of phobe or some kind of something. You know, there's some kind of you're some kind of name, derogatory name, because you don't agree with their illusion or delusion. This is dangerous, dangerous stuff that is going on here. Okay, it comes to the point where children are being subjected to things that should not be happening. And when you have a debate, or this is not even a debate, you're getting screamed down, shouted down, because you want to make a law that says you cannot do things to people under the age of 18. And and to me that's completely common sense and rational. Yet, to the other side, you wanting to make this law to protect children makes you an Nazi or a fascist or a genocidal person, because you're not affirming them. Now, if you notice, these people, they need affirmation a lot. And they need you to affirm them. If you do not affirm them, then I don't know if they cease to exist or what happens, but they demand you affirm them. This is not about them being who they believe they are. They believe who they are, but you have to affirm it. And if you do not affirm it, you're a phobe or something else. You're a bad person because you will not affirm their delusion. And this has increased so much to the point where I couldn't even make a observation about something without being shouted down in a chat room. And this is why I go back to there is truth and there is false. When someone says that they are something they are not, that is false. But they want me to believe that it's true. It's the same exact thing as, because the government said it, it must be true. That's patently false. Anybody says anything does not make it a true thing. There's no scientific back. These people that are doing this stuff, and they are engaging in this activity, they say that it's medically this and that. It's a life affirming. It's a genocide not to go with it and all this other nonsense. When there's literally no studies on this stuff, because it's only been going on for a short period of time, and no way long enough to have any kind of a long-term studies on anything that's going on here. And the funny part about it all is that the people that use the words like fascist and Nazi and all that kind of stuff, they are literally the ones being that way. It's just like talk about the Communist Manifesto, man. It's like rule number one: anything that you're doing, say your enemy's doing it, and use it against, and say hold it against them. That is like number one thing. Back during the Second World War, there was a man named Joseph Mengele, and he was a physician for a certain political party, the National Socialist Party. You younger people might want to know him as better as the Nazis. Okay, that's the National Socialist. And Dr. Mengele, he had a lot of ideas about eugenics and gender and other things such as that nature. And they did quite a few things, experimental things that we at the time considered to be pretty horrific and pretty unethical and just generally evil. They're now 2023. We have children's hospitals that are doing the exact same things that we called horrible, unethical, evil when Dr. Mengele was doing it then. But these are doing it, and it's mainstream and accepted now. What I mean is gender affirming surgery. So that's a euphemism, because these people that do things that are not right, they like to use euphemisms to soften what it is. You can't, if you came out and said, oh, we are mutilating the genitalia of children, that might not go over so well. So they come up with the gender affirming surgery. And then they back it up with saying, well, if they don't get gender affirming care, then they have a higher rate of unaliving themselves. There's no study to prove that, of course, because this has not been going on very long. There are things that say that these people that have a genuine dystopia of their what they are. There are studies that say those people do have a higher rate of unaliving themselves. Genuine people who genuinely have this, the percentage of people that genuinely have this dystopia, they are not dystopia. I can't think of the term right now. But who believes they are something else. The actual amount of people that are like that is very small. And they talk about intersectionality. Okay, intersectionality is if you don't know, is another word for a hermaphrodite. Yeah, and you know what that is, right? Okay. Well, so they've turned it into intersectionality, and they've thrown this in there with this whole thing that that somehow relates to the gender thing. Which the amount of hermaphrodites is infinitesimally small in our population. 1 in a million. Where there's these other gender dysphoria people is growing and growing and growing. And why is that happening? Is it all of a sudden more of us are just being created that don't believe that they are what they are, or is the media, society influence causing more of it? Well, the answer is obvious. When kids are young, any of the older people should really remember when fads went around. And remember when you came back from Christmas and cool kids had the Sony, the Walkman? Didn't we all want a Walkman? But maybe we didn't have enough money to have a Walkman, but we sure wanted one, and they were everywhere. I remember so many fads. I remember the bell-bottom jeans fad. I remember the leather feather earrings fad the girls all had. Then there was a time of the cowboy hats, and then there was the 501 button-fly jeans fad. All of these ones. And then the PCH, Pacific Coast Highway Clothing, that fad. Or then there was that after Spicoli, that hoodie type thing he had, surfer style, man. There's fads. There was all fads, and this is a fad, this gender thing, and you have people you have out there that are Marxists, and they use this. They're using this thing to destroy society, and then they back it up with all this gender. And like I said, they use these euphemisms to disguise what they're doing, and they're importing their brand of garbage onto the impressionable youth. And so one person says, they see that Susie next door, she's getting a lot of attention because she's saying she's Steve, and boy, everybody's giving her attention. Maybe I'm Debbie, and if I get attention, all this attention, like I'm Debbie, I'm gonna do that. And that's fad. That's not people identifying, but then these people that know all this, they put into all this language. They put in all this affirmingness of it, and the normalization of it, and so you got an increasing amount of it. And then the Marxist people, they introduced these pronoun things where you now identify as, I'm a female, but I want to be called him, her, or him, them, they. They is not a single person. They is a bunch of people. You can't say they did this or they went there, even if it's a single person. You can say that. However, that's not common vernacular of the way people normally talk. Normally, we don't saying they did this. You talk about your friend, they went over there. You know, I'm talking about my friend Dale. I know, no, Dale went down that way. I remember the time Dale went to the movie theater. You know, they is not singular. It's plural, more people, more than one. So you have these people that identify as they, call me him, they. But then it gets to a ridiculous point where they're like clown self. Clown went to the store, and then they literally referring to themselves as you know, cat self. Nonsense. And the language is being just routed, man. You can't even speak to people when you cannot be on the same page with what the same definition of a word is. With the whole with Matt Walsh brought it out very eloquently with the what is a woman thing. And when you literally have people that cannot identify what a woman is for fear of alienated these Marxist nut jobs, or for you really have been indoctrinated so much that you believe you can't tell what a woman is, our society is doomed at that point. You know, that's the truth and the false. And if you are coming out and going, well, I identify as this, but yet you look like that, and so you want me to disbelieve what my eyes see, and just say, okay, that's what you are then, but it's not. You are now accepting the false as truth. You are now saying that 2 + 2 is not 4, because you got to say, oh, it's whatever you say it is. It's whatever you say it is. That is not a way a healthy society can function and continue on. We cannot allow delusional speaking and delusional ideas to become the norm, and you must accept it. I mean, you all heard, and you should know that there are places in the world that are, if you misgender a person, you are a criminal. So you're looking at somebody and you say sir, but they identify as not sir. You're therefore a criminal right then and there. You've done nothing wrong other than by see what you see with your eyes, and just go with what has been always been a truth. If a man has a beard, bone structure, shoulder, all that, you're gonna think, man, that's kind of the way humans are hardwired to think that. Women have more aquiline figures, they're thinner, trim, you know, all the things that we attribute. And if you start into a society and you say, yeah, that's a man, but they identify as a woman, therefore you must call them a woman. That's insanity. That is insanity. And I'm sorry. It's not about hurting anybody's feelings or anything else, but feelings should not overrule reality. You can feel any way you want. It doesn't make it so. And people can be, you know, we can all say, okay, I understand. I'm not trying to freaking hurt your feelings or nothing like that, but don't try to make me say that it's something that it's not. And that's where we're going with this. And this is happening in parts of the world. They're making laws to say that you cannot, if you misgender somebody, you are a criminal. It's ludicrous. It's insanity. It's the destruction of our society. That's period. That's what it is. It is the government or whatever it is saying that 2 + 2 is 5. That's what this is. And if you don't accept it, man, then you're a bad person and you need to be punished, put in jail or whatever, deplatformed, whatever it may be, because you refuse to go along with our bullshit. And that's it. We're done with freedom of any kind. Freedom of speech is already just hanging on a thread at this point. We all know about people being deplatformed. We all know about can't say certain things. I mean, I have to watch my words on here. Yeah, a channel that started out with bum fight. I can't say anything about. I can't say what my eyes see. It's ludicrous. It really is. I have to watch my words. So if I see that it's this way, but it's not, and if I say so, if I point out that it's not that way, that's insanity, and that's where we're at now. You're being controlled of what you can say and do and think. It's thought police. You can't even think wrong about something. You must say that 2 + 2 is 5. You must think that. You must know it. And that is what it is. Despite what your eyes say. To the contrary, your eyes are wrong. Your feelings are wrong. What is inside you, your knowing for since just human nature for the beginning of time is wrong, because we say that it's 5 and you will comply. And I'm sorry, this I don't want to be in a world like this. I don't. This is it's I don't want to be here. I don't. This is ridiculous. I'm hoping more people can just stand up to this Marxist leftist mob of brainwashed individuals and just say no. No. Just stop complying. Simple as that. Stop tolerating it. Stop just going, oh, yeah, it's just okay. Well, you know, just get along, go along to get along. That's where we got here in the first place. Going along to just get along is how we got here. Because these Marxists, that's how they work. They incrementally impose this stuff. And it incrementally, so it's like the frog in the boiling pot. By the time the frogs boils their full face and they're dead, it's too freaking late. But we never felt the temperature rising. That's the way it's been, and that's what's happening to us. We're the frog in the boiling pot, and we've just gone, oh, yeah, it's a little nice and warm. It's okay. It's comfortable. We're comfortable. And then it's a little warmer. We go, oh, it's a little bit not comfortable, but it's not that bad. We can just, it's okay. We're just gonna stay right here. These people, the Marxists, leftists, they don't stay right here. The temperature doesn't stay at that level. They constantly turn that 1 degree up. That's how that works. That's incrementalism. That's how it works. And it works because we want to be tolerant. We want to get along. We want to go along to get along. We don't want to have to be fighting every time we turn around with people. We don't want to hurt people's feelings. We are empathetic. That's our downfall in many cases, because they use it against you. They know that this works. They know how to manipulate people. These Marxist, Leninist, liberal people have been doing this for a long time, because it's not just an ideology, it's a friggin' demonic force that is in these people and in this world. It's the spirit of it, and it's meant to tear down good. It's meant to tear down morality. It's meant to tear down right and wrong. That's what it does, because it's evil. That's what evil does. In this world, there is good and evil. That's all it is. That is true. There is truth and there is falsehood. There is good and there is evil. The evil forces in this world are alive and well, and they have put themselves in certain positions now where they control the hearts and minds of many people, including the youth especially. They've gotten to them very well, because you know why? The youth has little minds full of mush, and the people that are supposed to be protecting them are advocating their responsibility. And so that what happened? The vacuum is filled with whatever's been put in there by the evil, and that's where this thing is. That's why this is happening. How can you possibly say that surgically manipulating little children is good? Well, I'll tell you how. You put euphemisms in the words, and you make it seem like it's affirming, and you make it seem like, oh, they could unalive themselves if they don't get this, and they put all these things into feel good stuff. And I saw this parent, several parents actually, and they're asked the question, well, if your child was such and such, and under 18, and if they felt like they were not what they say what they were born as, how do you feel about that? Well, and the parents are going, well, it's their decision, it's their choice, so I would support them. It's like, so obviously what a parent is and supposed to do has been, wiped out of these people. They shouldn't even be parents, because what a parent is supposed to be is that you protect your child. It isn't about that you affirm what they are saying, because they are not able to. That's why they're children. So we have laws that under 18 you can't get tattoos or go to the army or drink or smoke cigarettes or any of those other things that we think are not good for children. but you're going to let them mutilate their body because we want to go along with what they say. They don't have a say in it. You are the parent. Be a parent. Stop with this nonsense of the hands off type of thing and the where that is your job. Your job as a parent is to protect your child and from themselves. Just because they say there's Batman today doesn't mean you go and let them go live in the cave with the bats and go fight crime. Or Superman, you don't let them jump off buildings because they can fly. That is our job, is to protect children from themselves. They don't, their mind is not formed. They don't know if they're a boy or a girl. They don't. And you want to impose all this nonsense on these children before their even mind is fully developed, and then you want to say, for one little thing, they must be a different gender. You should not be a parent. You should definitely not be a parent, because obviously you don't know what it is. And any parent out there that has done this stuff with the children, shame on you. Shame on you entirely. You should be deparented. Simple as that. You've been brainwashed to some garbage that you can just say what they are, and that's that. That's not the truth. That is truth and false. Okay. So if you come up to me and you got a beard on and all this and you're wearing a dress, you're not a woman. Simple as that. My eyes are not. I'm not going to play that game. And so many other people out there need to say the same thing. No, I'm not playing that game. You want to say that you are, and you want to do all this stuff, that's whatever. You're an adult, you can do whatever you want. That's freedom of choice. But don't make me agree with you. Stop trying to jam it up. Why do I have to affirm you? So you're not really a woman, but if I affirm you, it makes you one? Shut the hell up. Ridiculous. Pronouns, you're not a he, them. You're not a she, sure. You're not a mix. You're not a cat, person, cat. You're not that. You are a man or woman, or he, she. And if I see you, that's what I'm going to say. Unless you have a name on. Let's just go with that. Just put your name tag on. My name is Debbie, Stan, Sheila, whatever. I'll call you that. No problem. But don't expect me to just guess at it and then get indignantly mad because I didn't get it right. Because I misgendered you. Dude, you look like a dude. Okay? I'm not going to go, he looks like a dude, but maybe he's a miss. And so I got to play this book and ask you what your gender thing is. And then if I don't get it right, come on. A society cannot function like that. We're going down the rest of the world is laughing at us because of this nonsense. People pull their heads out of your asses. This is nonsense. And it's meant to be nonsense, and it's meant to destroy our country. And that it is purposely done. It's being purposely done. That's why our youth are where they're at. Our colleges are completely garbage. These people getting out of college, they know every damn pronoun and every 10,000 genders, but they can't name how many states are in the fucking country. They can't name the offices of government or the 3 branches of power. But they can name the 10,000 so-called genders. There are 2 genders, people. Male and female. That's it. Gender is not a construct. See how they change the words around. Gender is a construct. No, it's not. Gender is a reality. It is a true or false thing. You are male or female, period, end of story. There is no construct about it. Okay? And they've got these children out of these colleges so brainwashed. Do you think people in Africa are saying there's more than one gender or more than 2 genders? Of course they're not. We didn't just make this stuff up here, and it's because of patriarchy and slavery and racism and every other buzzword they use. We say these things because they are truths. They are factual truths. There's man and there's woman, that's that. Don't give me intersexuality. I just said that's just 1 in a million. Okay? And those people, they're not the ones that are out there screaming about this. Okay? The intersexuality people. They pick one of them and then they go with that for the rest of their lives. They don't say one day they're one thing and the next day they decide something else. That's all I got to say on this Thank you.